Good afternoon, everyone, and this is presentation of part two of Deborah Schifrin, Deborah Tannen, and Heidi E. Hamilton's Handbook of Discourse Analysis. Part two on discourse, language context, and interaction. Part two, culture, community, and genre. In chapter 27, it talks about discourse and intercultural communication by Ron Scullion and Suzanne Wong Scullion, written and published in 1995. So, in the author's view, intercultural communication means the entire range of communication across boundaries of groups or discourse systems, from the most inclusive of those groups, cultural groups, to the communications which take place between men and women or between colleagues who have been born into different generations and culture. Now, the methods of this theory or the approach is the research on intercultural communication is conducted using primarily three different methodological approaches, namely social scientific, interpretive, and critical. Each of these approaches reflects different philosophical assumptions about the world and how we come to know it. Okay, so again, this social scientific methods. This involves quantitative data collection and research approaches, such as surveys and experiments. Interpretive methods involves qualitative data collection and research approaches, such as interviews and ethnographic observation. And the third one is critical methods, often involves qualitative data collection as well and research approaches such as interviews and textual critique. Now, critical scholars seek to unmask domination and inequality. Now, one sample research under this intercultural discourse is Workplace Diversity and Intercultural Communication. This is a phenomenological study by Adam Evans, Harika Suckling, and Sandy Nunn. Now, for decades, the United States has seen an increasing number of immigrants, which has led to significant increase in cultural diversity in the United States. So, this phenomenological study examines the contextual history of professional non-native English-speaking women in the United States to form a basis of comparison with native English speakers. Now, going to chapter 28, it talks about discourse and gender. This is explained by Shari Kendall and Deborah Tannen, all in 1997 explanation. It defines discourse in terms of gender refers to a whole range of different symbolic activities, including style of dress, patterns of consumption, ways of moving, as well as talking. Now, gender identity is constructed and reproduced through these symbolic activities in a very broad sense. Now, the approach of this study is this study of discourse and gender is an interdisciplinary endeavor shared by scholars in linguistics, anthropology, speech communication, social psychology, education, literature, and other disciplines. Now, one sample research under this is gendered exclusions, women's fear of violence, and changing relations to space, written by Koskela Heil. Now, this paper examines how women's fear of violence is realized as spatial exclusions. Now, quantitative surveys on fear are used to show the number of women who are afraid and the nature of the most frightening places. Now, going to chapter 31 of the book, Computer-Mediated Discourse. This is by Susan C. Herring in 2001. She defines computer-mediated discourse as the communication produced when human beings interact with one another by transmitting messages via network computers. Now, computer-mediated discourse, or CMD, encompasses all kinds of interpersonal communication carried out on the Internet. Example, email, instant messaging, web discussion boards, and chat channels. Now, this approach is currently used now. Well, most CMC or most computer-mediated communication currently in use is text-based. That is, messages are typed on computer keyboard and read as text on a computer screen, typically by a person or persons at a different location from the message sender. Text-based CMC takes a variety of forms, like email, discussion groups, real-time chat, virtual reality role-playing games, and etc. Now, these are all with linguistic properties that vary depending on the kind of messaging system used and the social and cultural context embedding particular instances of use. Now, one sample of research paper under this computer-mediated communication or discourse is called Politeness in Computer-Mediated Discourse of a Virtual Team, written by Erica Darrix. Now, on summary of this paper, it draws newest findings of politeness research. Now, this paper proposes an interactionally grounded approach to computer-mediated discourse, or CMD. Now, through the analysis of naturally occurring text-based synchronous interactions of a virtual team, the paper illustrates that the interactional politeness approach can account for linguistic phenomena not yet fully explored in computer-mediated discourse analysis. Now, okay, so here ends my report presentation of Deborah Schifrin, Deborah Tannen, and Heidi E. Hamilton's The Handbook Discourse Analysis, Chapter 2, Part B on Discourse, Language, Context, and Interaction, which are culture, community, and genre. Thank you.